This video was recorded in front of a live virtual audience. Hi everybody, Jacob here. Welcome back to the Fashion Bunker. It's Fashion Week time. We're going to be reviewing Dolce & Gabbana's Fall/Winter 2021 fashion show. There's a lot to be said about it. I'm really curious. So I'm curious to your reactions because this video is being filmed live in front of a virtual audience. So I have my co-chatters in the sidebar as well. I'm excited to hear your opinions about it. But what did I want to say? Well, I wanted to say that we're gonna watch the video of the fashion show, which I'm gonna review, and just be warned, I have changed the audio because the video has been taken directly from Dolce & Gabbana's own YouTube website, so it's fair use. I can't use it to review it. However, the music is not fair use. It's copywritten, and they used for the entire duration of the video music from The Weeknd. That's gone now. There's going to be a different soundtrack for my version of the review. So bear that in mind. And also, I've already seen the show because I also had to work with the music and stuff. Very taking us back in many ways to the roots of Dolce & Gabbana, to their 90s roots, a bit of 80s roots. So stay tuned. Because after the review of the show, I will show some archive pieces as well in the Fashion Bunker. So that's going to be interesting to kind of compare the vibe and the mood of what is shown on the runway for 2021 and what actually was quintessential Dolce & Gabbana from the 90s. Of course, I have with me here my vintage Dolce & Gabbana Pour Homme from 1994 perfume, just to smell it a little bit, get into the mood. And before we get to it, if you like my channel, please consider subscribing to it. Subscribe today and push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member and get access to extra perks. You can also join me on Patreon, Super Decable spelled together on Patreon as well. Join me there for also extra perks. Amongst the many perks you get, exclusive videos is also being listed at the end of every video in the credit roll as the co-producer of the Fashion Bunker. Thank you to all the patrons and members who have already pledged, and thank you to all my co-chatters in the chat section. Let's chat away. Let's watch the show. Okay, lights, sweetie darling, flashy lights. Just mind you, this is a very quickly edited show. It's edited to match the music of, The Weeknd, so it's going to have a rhythm. It's almost like an MTV music clip. So you don't really get to see the clothes a long time. It's going to be very flashy. It's edited like a music clip, not like a fashion show. Anyway, first thing I don't like, they're doing the shield thing. I don't like when fashion tries to earn a lot of money off those visor things against, the lockdowns, the virus and stuff like that. I'm not a fan of that, but I do love the glasses underneath. So, okay, they're showing us this little robot. Who cares? I get it. It's supposed to be a cutesy little robot and be like, hey, I love you. Here are the first models popping up. And, okay, this transparent plastic kind of raincoat, trench coat, classic 90s D&G, not Dolce & Gabbana. Dolce & Gabbana's D&G line was, the kind of, for the younger audience, a little bit cheaper. So there's that vibe going on there. They also did do their own transparent raincoats or trench coats. Very sexy with black épiés underneath, very 90s. We do have this thing that already, Alessandro Michele initiated with Gucci, this Fokuhila thing going on. The mullet. Okay, here we go. So rainbow wigs, they're looking straight into the camera. Of course, there's no audience. There's no audience sitting in the audience. There's no people there because we are in lockdown. So this is just being filmed for the sake of this video. There's a bit of like graininess. Some of these prints showcase, the snow on television when the system goes out, or pixelated. This is all over the place. We got that mullet situation going on. The crowns, which are reminiscent of the bad Dolce & Gabbana times. When they started doing all their Russian princesses and empire style, hated that. So there's a little bit of reminiscence of that here. That got to go, like yesterday. But I am liking the hip hop vibes. I am liking all of this color blocking, loving the pastels, loving the stripes. This came straight out of the 90s, the black and white striped faux fur. Club Kids all over again, very much Vivienne Westwood as well. Oh, this is early 90s, late 80s, early 90s. All of those crystals and stuff hanging off of guépières and corsets. Right back to the Dolce & Gabbana roots. Loving this. The only thing that changed is the hairstyles, but the outfits are quintessentially Dolce & Gabbana from the 90s. Loving this. Come on, Madonna, wear this again, you know. Also loving this. I mean, this to me is the Dolce & Gabbana that I love. They're guépières, they're kind of Sicilian type of widow, but she's still sexy. I don't like when they start writing 90s supermodel and prints on their stuff. That gots to go. All of these over-studded, beaded shoes, very much Valentino. We do not like. Patchwork, believe you me, that type of patchwork that is typical for Dolce & Gabbana for the 80s and 90s. Did a lot of incredible patchwork pieces. This type of logo with the D interlocking the G, I do not like at all. They should re-separate them again. The bear, whatever. Yeah, the whole crown situation is dreadful when they do the crowns. I hate when they do the crowns. But I'm loving a little... Oh, okay, this Pepita or Houndstooth jacket, yes. Get me one of those, please. Metallic purples usually look very, very cheap, unless they're not like fluffy like that sweater. Loving the sweater, loving the yellow leopard, the puffer bomber jackets over the top. Everything is like exponentially grown. It's like the 90s, which were already on steroids, but now they're really on steroids for 2021, because this is a clash of a lot of things. This is acid tripping. This is hip-hop meets memory of the 90s, meets the new wave club kids, meets a little bit of that, you know, really hardcore techno scene, but reinvented for the 20s, for the young teenage generation of today. Oof, that fanny bag is dreadful. This looks very Japanese though. Oh, well, there you go. An Asian, I don't think he was Japanese though, but we had an Asian model. Just a second, something looks Asian, and they knew what they were doing there. Because they also know what markets they're catering to. They're very, very shrewd at selecting the garments and the clothes exactly for the specific market where they know it's going to sell the best. Again, metallic lilacs, not a good choice. All of these pearls hanging like that's very Chanel 90s, okay? That's very Carl. We have a little bit of Paco Rabanne going on here with the coins, medals. They're all over the place. This collection is all over the place. It's like being high. I love the little dots of color, the white and black coat. I'm a fan of their coats, I have to say. Most of the coats that we're seeing now I'm loving. Not all of them. Not most of them, some of them. But all these hanging chains, that's very 1992 to 1995 Chanel. And why not? Why not? If you can't reinvent something new, you know, that's what, but they're, you know, they're famous for kind of taking here and there from others. Oh, loving this corseted fit with that skirt. Delicious. I mean, there's literally a bit of everything, and it's very chaotic. Is that good for the collection? The fact that it's so chaotic? I don't know. Maybe it's not. But ultimately, when it hits their boutiques, you're gonna have the choice. You could choose really amazing pieces. Like, you know, you could just individually... Okay, what is this? We got a little bit of... this is a kind of a Balenciaga meets Balmain moment. A little bit of, because it's simplified, it's also a little bit of Yves Saint Laurent. To me, the guépières are quintessentially Dolce & Gabbana. Everything else, they did have a moment when they were going very much retro 50s, 60s in the 90s, and when they do those full fur coats, striped black and white, I do adore. But these acidy colors don't always work very well with those micro bags, in particular, patent leather over the top. Their patent leather was incredible in the 90s, but it's a different story now. Oh my God, you get your Christmas tree look. Okay, this is very Chanel with the pearls. Oh, another Christmas tree look. But also this kind of full-on headgear like we've seen at the Moschino show, very Courrèges reminiscent. There's a lot of Courrèges going on here. A little bit of Pierre Cardin as well. There's this footballer mood going on as well. Huge shoulder pads. There's another Chanel reference. And here's another Chanel reference. Chanel meets Paco Rabanne in this case. And a bit of Gaultier. Oh, there we have the Gaultier reference with the bust, you know, and the little peplum going out there. These metallics are all over the place. Oh, I'm loving this huge over the size puffed up jacket. Okay, somebody has to tell him to not be that serious. It's so irritating. When they like try to make those faces, it's so cringe. 90s, yeah. Okay, that bust and that full-on thing, that's classic Dolce & Gabbana from the 90s with all those crystals hanging from them. I live for those pieces. There's these poor robots though, with those dreadful fanny bags. Too much glitter, too much glitz. Although it does reflect really nice on camera and they do give an iridescence out there. Oh, look at this fur on feathers. It's a feather coat, isn't it? That isn't that bad, that feather. It's very opulent, very over the top. And then they're all standing here giving us a little bit of Yeezy 2015, you know, Vanessa Beecroft mode. It's like since Vanessa Beecroft styled the posing standing models for Yeezy back in 2015, it's like since then, it's stuck. It's stuck. It's stuck and it doesn't want to go away. And I'm so annoyed and I'm done with this, like all of them just standing stiff and just like, you know, no. That got to go. That's really not fresh no more. And look at him. He's still seriously looking at the camera like, girl, bye. Very messy collection. With a couple of, yeah, bye. With a couple, oh, bye you too. Yeah, right. Oh, you got blue hair too? Okay, girl. A very messy collection, but there are some incredibly editorial highlights. And it's giving me a lot of positive vibes, which is fundamentally what I was missing in a lot of other shows I've seen. This is just like, yeah, okay, we're learning from Alessandro Michele, Gucci, you know, all of these brands in Italy after Gucci became this influencer sensation, the most photographed Italian brand, you know, back in the day, you know, a couple of seasons ago when Michele started doing Gucci. They've all kind of taken out of that notebook, and so they're doing this in their own way. They're not doing this escapism to the 70s like Alessandro Michele likes to do. They're doing their escapism to the 90s with the flavor of club kids and with the flavor of ravers. And then that aesthetic kind of brought into 2021 with the technology we have available today. What does this mean? This means that the stuff that they did in the 90s weren't as fluffed up and opulent as they are today. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples now. Here is a quintessential D&G sheer trench coat, which you're supposed to wear with nothing underneath or just a guêpière. So this little nifty piece, look how huge their logos used to be. This is the inside logo, and on the back you had one too. This is the early 90s when D&G still existed as a sub-brand of Dolce & Gabbana. I love them when they had the thick logo, when the and was almost as big as the D and the G. This logo was the first logo that they used for D&G, and it existed for couple of seasons only. Already by the mid 90s, they reduced the and it became quite ugly. But this I find so appealing. So you can see how sheer this is, you guys. You know what I mean. So this is a piece from the 90s from the Fashion Bunker archives. Yes, I do have a fashion archive as well. So I'm sharing a couple of pieces with you. And you have this gorgeous, the buttons even have this sheer kind of satin. Every button is covered with it. So this is a piece. Now you can imagine this looks gorgeous worn. It's relatively short and a cinched body, but if it were made today, they would have emphasized more on the detail. Something would have been even more oversized. Perhaps the collar would have been a little bit more, you know, but this is a classic 90s thing that also, shape of collar, that also Tom Ford did for Gucci quite a bit. I can also show you some colors. So when we're talking about puffer jackets that they're doing now in the Dolce & Gabbana collection for D&G in the 90s, this was a classic. This was as fluffy as it got back then, you know? I mean, they did have some more like furry, long, elongated furry bits, also faux fur, but you have this huge logo, which is not printed. It is actually stitched on there. On the sleeves. And then you have, of course, their huge logo on the inside. This is also something typical. Oh, they have a logo on the zipper as well. Oh, wait, I can show you, yeah, the close-up. There you go. And then the entire interior is like D&G, 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 D&G. You can see it in the fabric. It's all of these are little tiny D&Gs. So they were one of the first to start really obsessing with the logo and the branding on the exterior. Now, of course, Chanel already did it with the double C in the 80s, but in the 90s, they really took it to the next level at D&G. And then those big pearls and crystals adorned on jackets and stuff, they did it already in the 90s. Here's a beautiful example. Hold on, I got a little hair here. Oh, it's not a hair. Oh, it's one of the... Oh, I see now, because I have these spotlights here. So these are... Oh, no. Yeah. Okay, so these are the little strings from the pearl. So this is what they did. This is a D&G vest in wool with little tiny pearls attached to it. This is a classic 90s D&G piece. Okay, and this is something that, you know, they would make today, but the pearls would be probably bigger, and everything, you know, the borders on the sides would be bigger. This would be more, there would be more emphasis on this. This would be wider, broader. The material would be thicker. This is a very, very thin wool, really good quality, but it is a thin wool. And just a bit more fragile, a bit more gracious, perhaps, less chunky, less in your face, but a beautiful piece. Then I'm going to show you, you know, for spring, for example, really, really beautiful. This is what they used to do in the 90s. I got a yellow ensemble and a green one, like a pea green. This is their kind of, you know, when the 90s did the 50s, or the 60s in this case, they got their little D&G buttons over here. You can see the, where is it? There. And, of course, the huge logo, because that's what they did back then, for really a short period of time. And you have these gorgeously cut, really short little jackets. And then underneath, you got the little mini skirts. The green ensemble also has it. So you got this little mini skirt going together with this kind of, in this case, almost, yes, a sun, you call it acid yellow or sunflower yellow color. And then on the inside, of course, the entire lining inside has the D&G logo. Same color matching the exterior. Same applies for the green jacket. So this is just a little excursion into the Fashion Bunker archives. I hope you've enjoyed it. It has been my pleasure to show you some of the pieces. They have their little tiny shoulder pads as well. This is a gorgeous piece. I mean, they're all amazing. But you can imagine how difficult it is archiving all of this. This is just a little tiny fraction of... Do I have anything else to show you today? No, let's just leave it at that. There you have it. This one also has a little skirt inside. So, what do you guys say? Oh, thank you, Jack. Thank you, Jack, so much for donating $5 to the Fashion Bunker. Thank you so much, Jack. Very sweet of you. Thank you. Thank you. Let me read your comments, you guys. Okay, quickly, let's get through them. D&G, are you talking about Dungeons and Dragons? Kind of. Okay, now let's read on. Yes, to the archive pieces, says Debbie. Yes. 80s and 90s D&G. This might be interesting after all, says Mr. Philip Fabulous. 80s and 90s, yeah. D&G red for women is strong, says 59 Sananda Suyam. Yes, it is, and I love it. Jack says, after everything I've seen from D&G, frankly, I do not care how interesting their shows might be. They're repulsive. Rachel says, oh my God, it's so fast. Damn. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, it's the first show where they use accessories people are forced to wear nowadays. I give them kudos for that. It is the reality we live in. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, mama, that's the sexy Italian fashion I love. Strong, sexy women. My back of the day says, I love the houndstooth jacket. Me too. We're going to order two. One for you, one for me. Debbie says, oversized is it. Rachel says, cropped puffer. Me likey. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, yellow leopard. Yum. MK says, there are some cool things But I don't get the stylistic directions all over the place. Kira says a little bit for everyone, or so it seems. Audrey says some of these pieces look like they are from Boohoo. It's a show that doesn't seem to know what it wants. Mr. Philip Fabulous says the show is all over the place, but I love it. Some of those Chanel 90s show were all over the place too. Love the creative mess. You see, Mr. Philip Fabulous, you started off really negative and now you're changing your mind. That's good. That's good. We're having a flow here. Debbie says, yes, something for everyone. You have the crazy over-the-top pieces to satisfy your high fashion craving and those toned-down pieces too. It's a great mix. I agree. Rachel says, patent leather ain't for me. Kira says, I agree. Debbie says, I personally love this show. I enjoyed it thoroughly. Rachel says, the holographic puffer jacket, I like. My back of the day says, they are making it clear they refer to the 90s. 90, 90, 90, 90, 90. Mr. Philip Fabulous says, love this show. MK says to Audrey, I've never ever got Dolce & Gabbana style. Each season, there's a different style. Their body of work is actually not very respected within the fashion community. Listen, to me, the METIERS, that late 80s, early 90s, that's their DNA. That's what they should stick to. It's very, very recognizable in my opinion. Rachel says, there's just a lot going on. Candy Fluff says, frantic collection, frantically displayed. I loved some of the more structured pieces though. Philip Fabulous says, you got blue hair too? Okay, bye girl. Jacob, you crack me up. Rachel says, I like some of the coats, but everything else, that was a little sloppy to me. I love the sheer anything. That trench is beautiful. Thank you, Rachel. Yes, agreed. There's no escapism to the 40s, 70s, but a continuation of contemporary fashion by going back to the 90s for references. Very today, if you ask me. That's a good point. Kira says, I need that coat. Debbie says, ooh, the puffer. Rachel says, is that shirling? No, it's not shirling. You guys, it's not shirling. It's, no, it's a teddy bear. This is, well, this part in here is wool, but the outer part, this is acrylic, you know. It's a fluffy, warm acrylic jacket from the 90s. I think they stopped their D&G line in the early 2000s, says MK. I remember in the 90s, each collection tended to look cheaper and cheaper as years go by. I used to collect their tank tops as a teenager. Oh, I forgot to show you this. This is also a classic D&G piece. This is a quintessentially D&G piece. The t-shirt with the logo in the, you know, right on the chest area here. This is like, it's like, this is a museum piece. I know it's super simple, but they're the ones who started this. This is, you know, the ribbed little, you know, shirt with the D&G. So they stopped D&G in the 2000s because of tax evasion, allegedly, because they didn't want to pay certain taxes. And so they just cut off the D&G brand completely to avoid paying something. So it was all a big mess. So they didn't stop it because it wasn't selling. They stopped it out of financial reasons. Allegedly, we got to say, yup, love the vest too, sigh. Oh, Debbie. My back of the day says, that is a beautiful slip over. I would love to wear it. MK says, whoa, my eyes, those colors, the umbrellas of Cherbourg. Oh, I love that movie, by the way. Debbie says, canary yellow. Thank you for showing these finally. Oh, thanks, Debbie. There's more, though. But yeah, for now, this is enough. Candy Fluff says, love the cute 60s jackets and the vest. MK says, oh, I had these t-shirts too. So mid-90s. Yes, I know. And I wanted to bring you a little bit of the fashion bunker out to use this opportunity while Dolce & Gabbana are kind of like going back to their roots a little bit more. So I was like, yeah, why not? Let's show the people, because you've been always asking like to show some more pieces from the fashion bunker archives. Well, here's a little bit for you to see today. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, for co-reviewing the collection with me. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have enjoyed it, but you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please subscribe to my channel. You can also push the join button next to the subscription button and become a member today and gain access to extra perks, including having your name scrolling at the end titles as a co-producer of the channel. You can also join me on Patreon, Super Jacob all spelled together on Patreon. Also, there you get extra perks. You also get listed here on the sidebar, and you get to see videos before they come to YouTube or exclusive videos that never hit YouTube. What else? Oh, join me on my other social media platforms, Super Jacob, all spelled together on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can also join me on my Chanel adventures. I have 2 Chanel dedicated profiles. One is dedicated to my Chanel collection called Coco Chanel is in my house, all spelled together, and to all the shenanigans Chanel is up to these days. And the other one is called Coco Chanel Privé, all spelled together, dedicated to the life and creativity of Mademoiselle Coco Chanel herself. What can I tell you? Dolce & Gabbana have made some sketchy decisions in the past. I know, and it's like not cool what Stefano says from time to time, not cool at all, not justifiable at all. But again, I repeat, Domenico is a different human being. Domenico is not Stefano, and Domenico is the one who actually puts all the work into these clothes. So, I don't know. We live in a day and age, you know, cancel culture. Such a thing. Such a thing. But do we have to keep on making it a thing? I don't know. I guess you gotta keep people accountable for everything, which is a good thing. And you gotta call people out when they do something wrong, which is a good thing. And you gotta make them understand why you feel like they did something wrong, which is also a good thing, to let them know. But ultimately, after everything is said and done, we gotta also grow from it. We gotta learn from it, and we gotta grow from it. Not move on from it, but grow from it. Take the seeds of whatever is there, that whatever has been planted, to understand better how to better ourselves. Do I believe that Stefano is redeemable? I don't know, to be honest with you. The only time will tell. But Domenico is a different person. Just letting you guys know. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, never forget to never give up on love. Love you all. See you soon. Take care. Bye. Mwah.